I'm Vice Signal, and this is Cancel Lincoln.
By the middle of the 19th century, the southern states of the U.S. being allowed to secede from the Union would have meant a massive loss of revenue for big business in the North, which had become dependent largely on southern consumers due to protective tariffs. As discussed in the previous video, protective tariffs are taxes placed on imported goods to make them more expensive for the purpose of deterring the local population from purchasing the goods at all and buying from a domestic industry instead. This protects the local industry from foreign market competitors. A modern example would be if the US government wanted to protect the American car manufacturing industry from outside competition. It may put a 20% tariff on imported cars, making a $30,000 foreign car cost $36,000 instead to American consumers, whereas an American-made car sold at $30,000 will remain $30,000, thereby incentivizing consumers to buy American because of the lower cost. While this may seem like a net positive thing for a country's economy, it does not come without collateral damage. For example, the domestic manufacturer may choose to sell the car that would normally go for $30,000 at $35,000 instead, as it is still less expensive than the foreign car, but significantly higher in price than it would have been had there been outside competition, therefore taking advantage of the tariff and increasing costs for consumers. Additionally, protective tariffs are designed to reduce imports, and this in turn reduces exports as well, because if a foreign seller makes less money from your country, it will not be able to spend as much money buying things from your country, and this hurts your exporters, which in this case were southern farmers. Tariffs on imports also provoke a political response, such as retaliatory tariffs from the foreign nation being targeted, which further hurts local producers, as it makes your products more expensive in their countries, making them much less likely to be demanded. Thus, by 1860 in the US, the game was rigged. Throughout the 1800s, northern manufacturers of various industries lobbied their Yankee politicians in Washington, D.C., aka bribed them to put in place protective tariffs that would boost their profits by keeping out foreign competition. But southern industries were not given the same courtesy. Most manufactured consumer items made in the US, such as tools, woolens, and glass items, were produced by factories in the North, and most raw materials, such as cotton, sugar, and tobacco, came from the South. According to authors Mark Thornton and Robert Ekelund in their book, Tariffs, Blockades, and Inflation, The Economics of the Civil War, quote, goods such as cotton textiles, paper, glass, woolens, and iron, including nails, were protected by taxes of 40 to 100% of the value of imports. This tariff was enacted when the U.S. Treasury was neither in surplus nor shortfall, close quote. What this signifies is that they were enacted solely to protect and enrich northern industry. And while such exorbitant tariffs were placed on foreign manufactured items, they were not placed on foreign raw materials, meaning that the northern manufacturers could freely shop around the world to find the best deals on the type of things that southern farmers made. But southern farmers would be penalized for shopping outside of the country for the type of things that northern manufacturers made, which essentially forced them to buy from the North at jacked-up prices, or buy from foreign manufacturers at exorbitant prices due to the tariff. and the tariff itself to a vastly disproportionate extent benefited the North. Additionally, the North had a monopoly on the shipbuilding and shipping industry in the Union, as it was made illegal to use foreign-made ships and foreign shipping companies between U.S. ports, which would have lowered the cost of commerce for the South. And so, these U.S. commerce laws of the antebellum period facilitated a patronage system which allowed the North to enrich itself at the expense of the South for many decades leading up to the Civil War and caused tremendous resentment in Dixie. But biased protective tariffs weren't even half of the economic abuse that the South endured from the North for so long. When the Yankees in D.C. weren't forcing the South to buy Northern products, they were taking the money collected from tariffs on Southern commerce and directly giving it to politically well-connected Northern corporations, such as railroad companies. These payouts were in the form of subsidies, which they claimed were for, quote-unquote, internal improvements. These actions by the Republican Party and its forebears amounted to a socialist-style redistribution of wealth.
Thank you for watching that episode of Cancel Lincoln. If you enjoyed the video, do me a favor, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel while you're at it. It really goes a long way in spreading the content. Thank you again, fellow rabble-rousers.